All right. Hey, everyone. That was the Marine rapper, a friend of our program. One of his songs that I think is way underrated. And it's called Culture War, which is what we're in right now.
Mm-hmm.
And winning the culture war is the only way we can avoid a second civil war, in my opinion. So you are watching Christian Warrior Talk on Patriot Crusader Mission. I am Jason Perry, your host, one of your hosts. And I'm a former Navy SEAL, former Boston SWAT, executive protection guy, and most importantly, a former atheist who's now saved. And, and this show is designed for everyone else out there who was like me. I was trying to find people to hang out with, or people who felt like I did, or, who are Christian alpha males and strong personalities who wanted to live a protector Christian lifestyle. And all I kept finding was beta mush. And so Lauren and I decided to roll this out. So Lauren, you want to tell them about you?
I'm going to do a shorter version.
Sure.
I'm your hostess.
With the mostest?
Hostess with the mostest, Lauren. Wife, mom, former atheist, and quite happily a Christian now. And I tag along with this guy happily as co-host and figuring out this journey together.
Yeah. So we've made it through another week. For those of you who don't know, whenever you hear this,
strength and honor, strength and honor, strength and honor,
you're to take a drink of your favorite beverage.
Yes.
So that was for making it through another sucktastic week of this year that we call 2021. It just keeps getting worse.
Are they still sucktastic?
Oh, it's still sucktastic because we got a president on the grand scale. Personally, things are going well in our own individual life. But if you look at what's happening to the country, the Democrats are absolutely destroying it. I mean, they are trying to, Tucker Carlson had a great show the other night, and he's like, they're trying to do more change in 3 months than they have in 20 years.
It is pretty incredible if you write it all down. Everything that, especially the volume of executive orders. So it's right off the bat, kind of they know that it's not anything that the country as a whole would want or certainly support.
So part of the other things is when you come on, we got some people on over there on Facebook and YouTube. Go ahead and announce yourself, say hello, so we can welcome you in with a toast.
Yeah.
We want to know.
Need an excuse to drink.
Who's here. I got to get through this beer. I mean, that TMR song, got me going. I already finished a little over half my beer, but I'm trying to get. So many people complain about, all these artists out there who are negative and do all this stuff that's bad and has said bad examples, and don't turn around and support the artists that are doing the right thing.
Yeah.
And now, I want to be a part of that solution. So I'm going to try to, hey, Steve Raleigh, strength and honor, brother.
strength and honor.
To you, Stephen.
Strength and honor.
And what are you drinking? I'm drinking my Samuel Adams Cold Snap till they're all gone. And Lauren's gone high test over here.
Don't have wine in the house. I can't drink beer. Don't have any more hard cider. I'm drinking a vodka tonic.
Yeah.
We don't even have gin anymore. It's like fourth down.
We got to make it to the store.
Yeah.
We're going to make it to the store. So gin and tonic is, all right, hey, that's what Steven's going. Hey, John Ferris, strength and honor to you.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And Brandy Hip. Brandy.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
What kind of gin, Steven? Gin's my one of my faves.
I wish I had gin. Although this vodka tonic pretty much just tastes like tonic, which is okay.
Yeah, what is there, like 3 drops in there? You're not going to get tipsy. Come on, the best show, you guys, Lauren's best show was after that shot of tequila, and you guys know.
I don't know what that says about what you think about my regular personality, but okay.
No, your regular personality is great. I get to see it, but you're shy. You're more shy without the tequila.
I'm more shy.
Yes.
Less to say.
Whereas one shot of tequila, and lo and behold, you become a chatterbox.
not sure the vodka tonic will do that for me today. I'm sorry.
I'm going to have to go get you a double one.
Tanqueray.
Scott Torchick. Hey, brother. Good to see you.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Well, that's one down.
One down, 5 to go.
Yeah, I got a different one. I got an outlier here called an Alpine Lager.
You're going to start there.
That's the next one.
You didn't like that one as much, right?
I didn't, but I'm going to.
But it's here.
It's here. So.
Strength
So-
Eagle Rare bourbon. Bourbon. You're not talking to bourbon drinkers over here, John.
Good for you. That's some good stuff right there. I just, I actually did have a bourbon with Joel.
Right.
That was good.
Okay, he said it was a special. Joel is our
Yeah.
lender, our broker.
Yeah, our broker,
dude.
our mortgage broker.
And okay, yeah, so you went to that
So
cigar
not at
bar.
the
And by
cigar
the way,
bar.
when I did your laundry, your clothes just were disgusting.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
I opened that suitcase.
for
and it was like,
yeah.
it was awful.
Danae, hey Lauren and Jason from Chris and I. We are traveling home from,
Arizona.
and so he is driving.
Danae, are you
What he
able to
sends
have a
is
drink
what-
on the road since he's driving
Danae,
for
since
you?
he's driving, you got an open container, you can, But A2, Scott.
Are you gonna do?
No,
the
sorry,
beverage?
I'm gonna do Danae.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And to Chris.
Chris,
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
starting off
Strength
strong.
and honor.
Nothing like, having supporters of the program watch this on the road. It makes us feel so good that you guys are willing to tune into stuff while you're traveling and doing other stuff. Our stupid little program here has really turned into a tight-knit community.
Yeah.
We've already got friends in Johnson City, Tennessee, thanks to this program
Mhm.
before we even got there. But what I was going to
Drinking
say,
sweet tea.
sweet tea.
Sweet tea. I still need to cut my teeth on some sweet tea.
Oh, man. You ain't had sweet tea till you were in Tennessee.
It
You're
like
gonna have,
pours like syrup. I know.
yeah,
I mean,
it's going to
just like
shatter
straight
your
sugar.
teeth. It's so sweet.
No, thank you.
Oh, it's so good.
Bee's gonna get one sip of it and be.
Hooked.
She right now all she asks for is ice cream because she had her mouth trauma last week, which thank God she's largely recovered from. But now she thinks that she gets ice cream whenever she wants it. And so, like, first thing in the morning, ice cream, ice cream.
Yeah,
And then
it's
whenever
so-
you, like, touch the fridge, oh, ice cream, ice cream. Holy smokes. She's got us whipped and she's spoiled. It's ridiculous.
Well, we were doing really good up until she got sick. And then when your kid's sick and miserable, you just want them to be happy.
I mean, she wasn't eating anything, so it was
Like,
like,
it
if
was-
she'll eat ice cream, give her ice
Yeah,
cream.
I'm
She
like,
needs calories.
make milkshakes, get her ice cream, whatever it takes to make her get
And
some.
Lord,
Because
she
she's got,
is working it.
she doesn't have one extra ounce. She's
No.
ripped. Doesn't have that problem.
She's just little.
Yeah,
Just little.
she's just a little gymnast, little compact, explosive machine.
Which she plays fetch, like the best dog you ever would wish to have. We had to keep her busy today in the house while we were doing some work, and we literally were
Is that
throwing
child abuse?
We were throwing a dog bone for her around the living room. She thought it was the best thing ever. She probably was running around for like half an hour chasing a dog
I don't
bone.
think we should have told that to everyone.
Oh, it's okay.
I think that's borderline child abuse,
not
treating your
child abuse.
kid like a dog.
No, I think if we locked her in the kennel with Odin, that probably would be the line. Which it's tempting sometimes.
So,
Let me
yeah.
tell you, I'm sure you all understand that with kiddos.
Oh, man. Here's the bee being better. Thank you, Jesus.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
That almost killed us. So, as you guys know, Monday is the big day. Frank launches Frank Speech, Mike Lindell's social media company. And we are one of the flagship programs that are going on that. And we're very excited.
So we being
Both.
so the Hope Report through
The Hope
Lindell
Report,
Recovery
which
Network.
is sponsored by the Lindell Recovery Network. That is, the program I was hired by them to put on there. And then, of course, I'm going to put PCM over there as well. And they have 5 rules over there. I told you guys. No F word, no C word, no N word, no GD. So God bleep. And you can't. And then the 5th rule is you can't do anything illegal, obviously.
Yeah.
So.
And what is your opinion on that? So they say they're for free speech and all of that. What do you think of that censorship, which is clearly just largely personal to Mike Lindell's beliefs, especially with the GD one? What do you think about that censorship on a free speech platform?
Censorship for me is ideas.
Okay.
Right. So using cuss words and doing all that stuff is just crass. And, the old Jason would have been like, whatever, it's just an exclamation word.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really for people with a lack of vocabulary, and the more, as I watch friends on social media who are influencers and every other word's a cuss word, I just, I cringe now.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man, you're so much better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Expand your
when I heard what his rules are, there are certainly a lot of people who came to mind that will not have successful channels over there.
Will we be able to find the platform on the apps? It's a website. You got to go to Frank.
It's frankspeech.com, right?
Yeah, I think frankspeech.com. I'll put it out. I'm filming our first episode tomorrow morning.
Yeah. So that for the first month while they kind of on ramp, they do not have the live capability yet. So
only a few, so Frank HQ can live stream. So Mike Lindell is going to be he's going to be doing live stream, and he's going to be he's got all the big names, and he's going to give them time slots so they can live stream. We're still small. Yeah. I mean, you may give us like the midnight to 2 a.m. or whatever.
Baby project.
Yeah. But, after 4 weeks, then the influencers will get live. The first week, people are going to be able to tweet and all that stuff, but they're not going to be able to share content. Only influencers are going to be able to share content for the first week or so, and then as they ramp everything on slowly, they're going to do that.
So do you think they're doing that rollout just to work out bugs, kind of?
Yeah, well, I think it's that increasing the load, and I think it's smart to scale it that way. Mm-hmm. I think it's going to limit how successful it is because everyone wants to share their stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, everyone considers himself a social media.
It's basically going to be for the first couple of weeks. It's going to be more like going to a news.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Watch other people's opinions versus
because
sharing your
the website has tabs. So the first tab is like Twitter. The second tab is all audio podcasts. Mm-hmm. The third tab is all video podcasts. Mm-hmm. And every influencer gets a profile, and you can put all your stuff on your page. And I mean, I'm excited about it. I hope they can execute as well as they said they could.
Yeah, I know you were very impressed by what it looks like.
I mean, I'll be honest. I was expecting, wasn't expecting very much. I've joined every one of these other platforms. Yeah. None of them have really caught on as much. Yeah. We grew up to over 1,000 followers really quickly there. But it's, no one really interacts with anything, and no one's really over there. They're back on Facebook.
Yeah, I mean,
they're back on Twitter.
But a handful of people be like, see you later, Facebook. And then a month went by and be like, I'm back.
Yeah, well, the thing is, for a while, Facebook went hands off again. And then what happened? This new BLM story where the head of BLM bought $3.4 million in real estate in homes all around there, right? Mm-hmm. All around the country. And Instagram and Facebook weren't letting people share that. Why?
Oh, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, that's the latest round of censorship.
Interesting. Well, and then there's the O'Keefe
suspension. Yeah, the James O'Keefe on Twitter, which, James O'Keefe is probably the best. Well, he's the best, investigative journalist out there right now, guerrilla journalist.
Yeah, assuming that you guys have all seen these CNN outing videos. So there's been 3 released so far. Is that right?
Yeah, there was 3, and that's real
one
bad.
Coming with the Brian Stelter.
Yeah, he's the bald, heavyset guy.
Yeah,
who's on the show. Yeah, they confronted him in the street or somewhere.
Yeah, it looked like in an elevator or a building.
Yeah. So anyways, CNN was totally exposed, saying that their job was to get Trump out of office and to try to make Biden look competent. And then we're talking about, again, I don't know, they must send some smoking hot chick in there to hit on these executives and buy beers and all this stuff and then talk to them. And they spill it. I can't believe they're saying the parts out loud that
I'm trying to wonder what the setup to those conversations was. That
it's got to be. I'm sure they're showing up with blue hair and full on, Antifa girl or
think?
BLM girl,
Yeah.
and they're just sitting there and it's like, whatever, I'm this, that, and the other thing, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, they
I'm sure
are
they're not going
recording
to
the whole
spill their
time.
secrets because they're going to want to use it on as many people as they can. Shall we strength and honor to
James O'Keefe.
James O'Keefe?
Yeah,
for,
James O'Keefe and Project Veritas.
Strength and honor.
Spilling the beans.
Thank God somebody remembers how to be a reporter.
Yeah.
It's him and Tucker.
Yeah. I was trying to picture, I saw the video of him going and showing some of the clips that he has to that guy. Who's the guy in the video? Is the one when he was sitting down at the diner or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Keith goes in and is like, "We have you saying this," and you can.
Yeah, do you want to talk about that? He's like, "Ah!"
What? I
Oops.
can imagine all of the behind the scenes going on right now.
Oh,
The
yeah.
scrambling that must be going on.
Well, it's just like I don't know if any free thinkers watch CNN. I just assume not.
But the problem is, well, and again, I guess to the point that Twitter suspended him, it's none of the main media is going to share that. Obviously, they're all going to cover up for CNN. So the people who are going to see that are the people who already knew that stuff was going on. This just puts words on it and a face on it. But anyone who could potentially have a mind changed or didn't know that was going on, they're not going to see it unless it's shared with them.
What I want to know is what moderates, if there could be called that, think about their president of unity right now who's trying to pack the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to have a good old pat with our conversation with two of our favorite 70-year-olds.
Those would be my parents.
And see, hey, so, Trump was so terrible and he did all this stuff, but he didn't fundamentally try to change our government.
Yeah, I'm sure there would be the talking points given out by the mainstream media as far as why it's a legitimate thing to do or a good reason or all of that.
Whatever the Starbucks, the hens in Starbucks sit there and talk
I'm
about.
not going to talk badly about any of them. But yeah, we know that the mainstream media is going to give them talking points and a narrative that makes sense. That's why they've been able to pull the wool over so many eyes, because when those talking points are given in the vacuum that they are received in, they make sense.
Yeah, and the thing is your parents are both very bright individuals, and I just like to know, where the intellectual laziness came from to not be able to watch content that is different from their talking point channels.
Cognitive dissonance is very uncomfortable.
And
neither of them are political creatures, and so they don't want to engage in it. That's my take from the outside.
Yeah, it's just a shame because, I would never think that I'd be on the opposite side of them, particularly when you were describing them when we first started dating.
Well, it was as unfortunately a lot of people are. They're the never Trumper crowd, not necessarily that they truly deep down believe in the democratic principles. Is that they were never Trumpers, and so I think that they've more talked themselves into those viewpoints because that's what stood against Trump.
Yeah, it's just a shame because, I think every rational human being, there are parts of Trump that I don't miss. I don't miss the tweet storms.
Yeah.
I don't miss, every other day him picking a fight with someone. But at the same point, he did news conferences constantly.
Mm-hmm.
We knew exactly what he was thinking. We were more informed about everything that was going on in the world. And the world is just laughing at us.
I'm sure a lot of people miss
stomping
Kayleigh
our face. Right?
McEnany.
Yeah. And now you just have an administration that won't answer any questions. This whole circle back thing, Topher made a song about.
I know.
It's ridiculous.
I keep catching myself saying that and I can't say it anymore. She ruined it.
No, he'll never McNeely roll. Hey, McNeely, what up, brother?
Strength and honor. Strength
To
and honor.
you, McNeely.
The president won't go off script because when he goes off script, he says crazy things like, I like kids running the bubbles off the hairs on my legs and all kinds of weird pedo stuff that just totally gross you out.
Ugh.
Hair sniffing and the ridiculous, like, you're a dog-faced pony. You want to know what happens when Joe Biden gets off the cue cards?
Yeah, you're a
You're dog-faced pony soldier.
Oh, did you see what I heard you play the clips? I know you saw that the condescending way that they are trying to target conservatives with their ads of kind of what they think of us with NASCAR and whatever.
Yeah,
It's
no,
like
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I saw you play. It was at a press conference answer with Psaki. She talked about some initiatives they're trying to get ads out to conservatives or something.
Yeah,
and
because
they're targeting some very stereotypical things. That
I
they
haven't
assume
watched
that,
1 second of NASCAR in my life and never will. Just saying. Hey, I like Bubbles. I'm glad you like Bubbles, brother. So, McNeely, are you coming tomorrow still, or are you going to flake? You coming to the bonfire and the barbecue? You coming? You coming to say goodbye? I gotta go. Yeah, I'm gonna go get some Whole Food pizza because that's the best pizza in this town. That's pretty sad, but it's good. Their pizza's good, and we're gonna get some, burgers and some other stuff.
Yes, he's coming.
All right, good. All right, that's right. What I'm wondering is why Danae and Chris went to Arizona instead of making the trip to VA.
Legitimate questions.
Legitimate question. We are bringing you guys into the compound. I mean, if you guys, everyone wants in on the compound, but nobody's, gotta get down here.
We need people to come help us build a deck.
Yeah.
Save us some money.
Yeah. We went from, we got all this money from closing to all kinds of bills and taxes and everything else going on.
How did they know? They sent us bills, right? The Perrys might have some money coming.
Yeah, they must be watching the show and knowing that life's turning around for us, and all of a sudden
we'll be okay. But we could still use help with the deck. Turn it into a party. Danae, Scott, did you all enjoy episode 3 of The Chosen?
Ooh.
Talk about that, because you had an interesting reaction to it. It was kind of like one, we both were watching it. We didn't realize that it came on right after 2, so we went and watched it the next day. And usually when it finishes, you're like, wow. And that one finished, and we're like, it's done?
Yeah.
Like, it's over? Because I think because it's all in kind of this almost one scene, they don't, it's all in this evening campfire. It seemed there was a feeling of incompleteness about it, but also I know that you struggled with just not liking anybody in that episode, right?
Yeah, I mean, I only like one guy now, really.
It's Philip.
Philip is the guy I like out of the disciples and the rest.
So while we're talking about it, guys, chime in if you've seen it, if you've seen any of the episodes of season 2, and especially if you've seen all the way 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3, what?
Episodes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I really like Philip. I did like about this episode 3 in reflection was it got real.
Mm-hmm.
It got real because everyone turned into whiners and complainers.
Yeah, which I know that you're having a hard time wrapping your mind around.
Yeah, here's what I don't understand. Reading the Bible, and the Jewish people, like, if I had saw the miracles that these people saw, and I believed what they believed, or supposed to believe there, I would not be as stupid as they were. Like, how?
Which are you talking about in the time frame of The Chosen?
Right,
or are you talking about
in the Bible? I can't. In the
back?
Bible, how God punishes them every
Moses
time
level.
they come. Like it's a cycle. God saves them,
Yeah.
blesses them, life's great.
They forget. Yeah.
And then it goes down, and then it's this vicious thing. I'm like, how stupid can you be? But for the disciples, and it's part of the reason why Christianity has to be true, because these knuckleheads who were traveling with who they believe to be the Messiah, the Son of God, they still whine, they still complain. Peter denies them 3 times. They're all so flawed. And then when Jesus comes back after the resurrection, all that goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And they become the most fanatic followers in the history, out there.
Which we should be taking our cues from that version of them.
Yeah, but it's like
from our perspective of the Bible, we know all of it now. But I mean, how many of us are more in the pre-resurrection stage of their belief?
Yeah.
in their actions.
Yeah, the ending wrecked me when Jesus came back from healing all day and was just like totally wasted and staggered, and his mom, who had just said earlier that she didn't feel needed anymore by Jesus, and he needed her.
Yeah.
And it was nice. It was tender. It was nice, and it hurt me. It upset me to see Jesus suffering.
And that's, such a small scale of suffering.
Of what's you know.
But it also, I don't think you appreciate that they said that kind of the healing, it's exhausting. You know, it takes it out of him to give it into other people, and to be doing that kind of day in, day out the way that he was on the scale that he was at that point. You don't appreciate that necessarily just from the pages.
Yeah, and so anyways, it was good to see the human nature, because I've been in the military. Nobody complains like cops and military guys. I mean, they complain cold, wet, sandy, the whole thing all the time, whining, complaining, whatever, So
you can relate.
So I can relate there, but not when one of us is working. Like Jesus was still working and they weren't. Right, and they're all whining, and I'm just like. If I was there, I would have broke a foot off in every single one of their behinds.
It's hard to have perspective. But, I think I didn't see... yes, there was certainly some moaning.
Yep.
William.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
But the fact that we have to wait 3 weeks now for episode 4?
Yeah, did you guys hear that?
That's
did you
terrible.
watch Dallas after that?
It's terrible. 3 weeks for number 4.
3 to 4 weeks, he said, for number 4.
Oof. I'm hoping he's like under promising and is going to over deliver.
We'll see. It's obviously they have a ton on their plate, but that's just more time to rewatch and rewatch and rewatch 1, 2, and 3 and appreciate. I thought it was pretty. I don't know if did you guys watch him talking after the episode and what he explained about the first 15 minutes of episode 3 and how that was a single take, and how he was talking about like that's never done because that's like typically you do a talking like one line and you cut to the other person, and so it's okay if someone messes up because you just cut back and forth. But this, for 15 minutes, they did one flow of the camera. Everyone had to get everything perfect because they had to start all over, and he's talking about all day long they kept screwing it up.
Yep.
And not getting it. And literally it was down to the last 15 minutes, because if you notice in the scene, the sun's going down, and it was the last 15 minutes that they had to get it, and God helped them through it, and they got it. So I think you have to kind of appreciate the artistry of that. I didn't necessarily appreciate that until he explained the complexity of it, and I can see now why they'd be extra proud of it. But
to me, it was one of those like, okay,
I think
your job,
it's
dude.
either you care about it or you don't.
Yeah. I thought it was great that something extremely hard came together at the last second for a perfect shot that, on my most disappointing episode out of all of them. But,
Well, and there was so much buildup, too, because after Chris on Wednesday during Ken's episode was talking in the chat, he was like, did you guys see that he actually released episode 3 right after 2? And it's like, no. And so we went and I watched the transition from Dallas between 2 and 3. And he was talking about how he thinks this is his most powerful episode yet, and it's one of his favorites and all of this stuff. So we were really excited.
No, I'm not complaining. I'm just giving my opinion on, that it was still better than anything previous to The Chosen. But I think that was my least favorite episode.
It was a very different
that
feel.
or the children one.
It was a very different feel. But I think it does
one.
it was still character development. It was I would imagine most of you have developed some affection for Matthew. He's
it's
a
great
lovable
to see.
character. Yeah. He's funny. He's quirky. He's all of the things, and he plays it so well. And so to see him kind of under attack by the other disciples, I find myself gravitating towards defending him or wanting to defend him without really appreciating kind of the depth of the pain and where that anger comes from that the other disciples have towards him. And I think, we were talking, they kind of seem to be singling him out and blaming him, and they would have had those taxes collected whether or not it was Matthew. But I think my understanding of it is, he was one of them, and he went and did that job, whereas typically it would have been a Roman to do that job.
Romans are going to collect taxes regardless. No, I get it.
The fact that one of their people betrayed them in that position, it seems, I mean, but they were in this episode, they were definitely kind of personally holding him to account.
Pay your bills.
For all of the struggles that they went through.
Pay your bills and pay your taxes. It's not Matthew's fault. He's got to collect them.
Yeah, that line stood out for me with Simon. Kind of, do you know what you made me do? I never would have done these things if not for you. It's like,
yeah, well, that's
you know,
him
that's
totally
your
not taking accountability.
lack of responsibility. Yeah.
But the way I worked it out was that would be the equivalent of me sitting across the fire from Nancy Pelosi. And if Nancy Pelosi was repentant and had then come around, I would be cool. Like, hey, welcome to the right team. I'm glad that you're here. You know, let's get.
So would you have expected, would you be okay if Nancy Pelosi was just kind of tagging along with the team? Or would you expect her to address the group and say, hey, guys, I recognize that I did these things and I was wrong?
Well, that would be the best way to handle it, right? Which is what they're asking of Matthew.
Right.
And how about an apology?
Versus okay, Jesus asked him here, so that's enough for me.
Well, I'm not going to doubt Jesus.
Right.
And
they seem to be forgetting that perspective.
Well, I just found myself liking James and John more because they both stuck up for Matthew.
Yeah. Yeah. They seem to have a thing against
Big James
Simon
and
too.
John. Yeah. So.
And I didn't realize, so they're little James in the, as they call him in the show. Did he have some sort of disability? Because they referenced that in this episode.
I don't know.
After I watched it again, I noticed that he does walk a little weird. You can see him walking a little weird, but I'm not familiar with that. Is that a real thing for him?
I don't know.
That he had, it seemed like a leg issue.
That's something I can talk to Ken about maybe.
Thomas in that scene was talking to him about it and say kind of, why haven't you asked to be healed? And he asked what it was, and he said it was some sort of like paralysis at birth or something was how he explained it. I'm just curious if that's a real biblical.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or if that's kind of an artistic.
I had wondered if Jesus was going to heal the blind lady in season 1 that was following them around, that was eating at the table with them.
Right. Yeah. And yeah.
And I think for on purpose that he's not healing everyone.
Well, he hadn't started healing people at that point.
That's true.
Probably if she came to him now, it would be different.
Yeah. Well, and an episode.
So Scott, Chris said, are you complaining about waiting for episode 4 after you just talked about how the disciples were complaining?
Yes, I am complaining about episode 4.
He's complaining about something different.
Yeah. I'm not complaining about the
Jesus.
life that Jesus is making me live. When he asked me to follow, I'm not complaining about the fact that we're not killing Romans and that Jesus is healing, whatever. Again, it's all.
See, I didn't hear that all as complaining, just confusion more than anything. Their situation not meeting expectations that had just been kind of spun from childhood about what it would mean for the Messiah to come. And so just kind of this confusion. So I think because they had built up in their minds that this was going to be a little bit more kinetic, using the word that you like to use as far as that goes. And here they are managing lines of people and gathering firewood and, that kind of stuff. I think it's just they were trying to figure out what are we doing?
Well, none of them are fighters.
Yeah.
Like they make Peter out to be some badass, which I don't understand that. But,
Big James, they say practiced, right?
Yeah, he practiced with a wooden sword.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and that was a funny part where, what was it? Was Philip the one who called him on and said, were you going to use your wooden sword or something like that?
Yeah.
Or was it John? Or
Hi, we the people.
We the people, good to see you.
Do you have a drink tonight? Because we're going to cheers you.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
But anyways, it was it's still a great show. I just did not enjoy episode 3 as much as the others. I can see that, just like some chapters of some books, they're character development and setting plot hooks and all that stuff. And then you have like the awesome fight scenes and, winning the day and camaraderie and the laughing and all that stuff. I mean, goes back to Game of Thrones. My favorite episode of Game of Thrones was the one when they're all walking through the,
being buddies.
Yeah, when it was just
Yeah.
all of them just ragging on each other.
Yeah.
You know, traveling
Made
through the
you,
snow.
that made you want your bros back.
Yeah, it made me miss. I mean, it was like a bunch of team guys again, all
Yeah.
ripping on each other the whole way.
He watched that scene like 10 times in a row.
Yeah, it made me really like everyone. You know,
Yeah.
they were all having a good time, laughing, and a good time.
I think that episode 3, all of them really, but when you go back and watch them again and then again, you pick up on other things and other complexities and other conversations, and you understand more about it. And so I think I will personally get more out of it and appreciate it more.
I know going
go
back
back
and
and
watching
watch
the subtitles helps me because sometimes, you know, depending on what's going on in the house at the time when we're watching it and what's going
When
on,
the dogs bother you?
the dogs or the baby or the fact that you put the volume on 2 and I need it on 22, that is the type of stuff where
You had the remote, my friend.
I'm just saying it.
No. Don't
You're
blame Mama
saying.
for that one.
Just saying.
You can blame Mama for the dogs or something, but not the remote.
We the People 13. Are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about Rome, where the what's his name? Oh man, he's one of the best dudes ever from Rome, where the dude. There was the sergeant guy, and then there was the grunt guy, and the grunt guy turns out to be like they become best friends, and they just totally swap roles. One totally squared away, one totally screw up, and one of them goes on to like hook up with Cleopatra and all this stuff, and then the other one's there and part of the distraction when Caesar gets killed, and I wish I could remember the name of the.
They might be able to help you out.
Yeah, help me out with his name. I thought it begins with a P. I can't remember. His name, the guy who played that was just awesome. 13! And that was his legion. He was calling out the 13.
Okay.
The only way he would fight, he was going to go in there and get killed, but they started talking bad about his regiment. And it was great.
No.
Yeah, that was epic.
Where they drilled in his head, brain surgery.
Where they drilled in his head. I don't know. I don't recognize that one.
Are you guys talking about the same thing then? Today, I think was a good depiction of how much we really need him for clarity in our lives. Without him, there is confusion. With him, there is peace and clarity. Yes, agreed. And Steven, you definitely need to see each episode twice. I see something new each time. Yeah, absolutely.
Without
I know
a doubt.
we've watched several episodes, way more than twice.
Yeah.
And they're enjoyable every time.
Yeah. And it's like Arius is like maybe one of I gotta look this up. I'm sorry, it's driving me crazy.
All right. Well, so do you guys notice this new swag that he's like all pretty in blue tonight?
Yeah, I got my new hat.
So he's trying out some new colors of our merchandise. So this baby blue T-shirt. It's the same. Is that one? No. So this is. I still am in my Strength and Honor T-shirt because I keep forgetting to order new ones. And now I can't order new ones until we're at the new place because it's not going to get shipped here in time. So I will be in my Strength and
All
Honor
right,
sweatshirt.
Titus Polo. How I could not remember Titus Polo's name is crazy. And then Lucius Verinius was the other guy.
good?
Yeah, so Titus Polo, who was my favorite character, was
All right.
awesome.
Okay. And then
Yeah.
awesome new hats.
You know, I decided to.
We got different colors.
Yeah.
You got that in the gray one.
I decided
a
to broaden
favorite?
the color palette. So, you know,
Branching out
the
from
cranberry will be the next one. I really like the cranberry one. So, but this one here, like all the colors pop on it, great. It just matches really good. So, yes, Titus. Yep, exactly. I don't remember the brain surgery part, but, you know, that doesn't mean much. It was a long time ago that I saw that.
So
I
what
need to go
movie
back.
is this?
This is a series called Roma. It was one
It's
of
a
HBO's.
series. Okay. All right.
It was done around this time, right after The Sopranos, I think, or in and around The Sopranos when HBO was
Was
finally.
I born yet?
Yes. Ha 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 ha.
I'm just like,
Ha,
sincere.
ha,
That was
ha,
a
ha.
sincere question. I'm a little younger than you.
2005. Is that good?
Okay, I was born yet. Yeah, I was in high school.
Oh, to Lauren.
To baby Lauren.
How's that vodka tonic treating you?
It's good. Nice and tonic-y.
Did you put any vodka in that? Are you
I
like
did.
total
I put 4 capfuls.
capfuls?
So that's like a shot plus.
Capfuls.
It's a big cap of the vodka bottle.
You should have been like 1, 2, 3, 4.
I did 1, 2, 3, 4.
Tomorrow
For the party. Not sure how old you guys are. I'm 49.
I'm close.
You're very close here.
I'm close. Vodka and Red Bull. Oh, We the People. Vodka and Red Bull was my jam for a long time. I could count my blackouts before that drink. And after that, I was introduced to that from the SEAL teams. That was my, because you're wide awake. So you can just keep going and going and going and going.
Yeah, that was pre-Jesus, guys.
Yeah, that was pre-Jesus.
Don't take any pointers here.
No. That, yeah. No.
So wipe the smile off your face as you're talking about it.
I'm not thinking about anything like that. I'm just saying that, my routine would be to order 3 triples, and I would chug 2 and sip the last, and I'd be right where I wanted to be.
Right where you wanted to be.
And because vodka Red Bull was so darn sweet, like ridiculous shadow, you're like sweet tea, sweet, you could never taste it.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, you don't do it. It's terrible. Then you can't
I'm not
sleep.
planning on it.
Yeah. So do you want to get into like real news? I mean, we've done Chosen. We've done some other stuff.
Sure. We can get into real news.
So, we had another active shooter in a FedEx facility in Indianapolis. Thoughts and prayers go out to the families and all those affected by it. This guy was again known to police. His mom called the cops on him and said he wanted to do suicide by cop.
Yeah,
he's a 19-year-old kid. He looks like he's 12 or 14. Again, when are we going to start, stopping these things from happening? Because we know every one of them now. Like, we've known just about every one of them. They were on the radar in some manner or fashion.
Yeah, and we know that he was a former employee, so I'll be curious what the dynamic was there, whether it was like a recently former or what the deal is there. But yeah, I mean, he had his gun confiscated last year by police for suicidal comments. So not sure where the more recent gun came from. He shouldn't have been able. If he's
suicidal, he shouldn't be able to do that.
Does that have an expiration? Like if you get your gun confiscated for being suicidal, is that like for a year? Is that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, the short answer is I don't know. So We the People said he wasn't a SEAL, wasn't that hardcore. Props to you guys. I was a Marine, though, out of high school, went in, then LEO. That's awesome, man. Thank you for your service. Here's We the People.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So I had a chance to sit down with the author of Break Every Chain, Jonathan Hickory, a friend of mine, and I did a 2.5-hour interview with him today that I'm going to be airing on this show, as well as the Hope Report. Really good stuff that's being made into a major motion picture. We got to see a 2-minute trailer, and it's really good, guys. If the trailer is accurate, it's really good. I didn't get any of the cheesy, courageous movie or the Christian films that are just typically bad.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's been awesome what he's been able to make of his story, his testimony. And a couple years ago, he wrote this book, and he said he did it completely on his own, right? And then he got to help getting it published, but and then he didn't originally intend to kind of have it be made into a movie, but kind of God's worked it down this path, and it seems, I mean, the trailer was amazing. He can't share it yet because they don't have a release date for the whole movie, so they don't want to kind of get all this hype up from releasing the trailer and then have it fizzle out before the actual movie's released. But I wish we could share it because
it was really good.
It was awesome.
Like,
so as soon as we are able to, we will, because definitely go see it.
I was expecting typical bad Christian movie, and and I was blown away by it.
So he's a cop here locally in Albemarle County, and he joined very young. Originally, kind of was the gung-ho, kind of the mindset that everyone goes into the force with, and was then kind of beaten down, broken down by the struggles of being a cop that so many go through, not having good ways to handle it. He became an alcoholic, struggled with his marriage, had a miscarriage, later term miscarriage, and that was kind of a tipping point for him, where he went off the deep end and then asked Jesus to kind of come in and put him right back on the path. And since then has been clean, sober, and a huge champion for faith.
Yeah, and he's been one of the leading guys out there helping law enforcement with the suicide problem that we're facing in the LEO community.
Yeah.
And, I salute him for that. He's become a chaplain, and he's part of the, he does resiliency classes and all this stuff, and anti-suicide and stress and, management classes for cops, because cops really, they really need it. It's the hardest job ever, as you can see. There was a protest today in D.C., put all killer cops in jail or something like that protest in D.C. today. I would not do that job. It's not worth it. There's only 5 outcomes, and I reminded him of the outcomes today. I'm like, to every call you go to, either nothing happens, you go to jail because you made a mistake, you get sued, you go to the hospital, or you go to the morgue.
Yeah.
What other job has that?
Yeah.
Those are the only 5 outcomes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's like, holy smokes, you really make me not want to go back to work. I'm like,
because he's still active duty as a patrol officer.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I'll tell you, we the people, patrol is not meant to be something you do for 20 years. You got to take some time out and go to
We
it.
the people, are you active duty currently? Can't remember if you've ever said that before. But you can keep talking.
Yeah. So, I remember guys who had bought into this thing and patrol for life, and I'm going to work on the worst shift in the worst part of town.
I imagine there's kind of some pride to that.
There is, but it's,
give up.
They become raging psychopaths. They have no fuse. They, are usually, their marriages are in the tank. They don't, whatever. And a lot of them have to work that because if they work midnights, they get to work the details the next day. So they're working like 2 jobs.
And there's no like the way that they make pilots have a certain amount of sleep.
They're trying to.
Off. Currently, though, are there not?
They're so shorthanded everywhere. There are some things where you're capped, but that gets violated all the time.
Yeah, I mean,
guys are walking zombies, right? Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. And, guys with short fuses, and you want guys who are hard charging, thinking clearly, well rested, which it was my whole thing. Was I was saying, get rid of overtime, get rid of, you can make as much money as you want.
By just paying them well
just
for their
paying
regular
them
hours,
well for their regular hours.
But that means that they then need to be paying them well, plus hiring more cops to fill those extra shifts and paying them well as well. So, I mean, that's...
Well, I think in the end, it's going to save them money because of all the lawsuits
Yes.
they have. It'll allow them to
that's
elevate the standard that they have for recruitment. I mean, who the hell is going to be a cop for $15 an hour or $14 an hour or whatever the heck they're paying in the South? Like the guy who's willing to work from that, very few of them are actually going to be dudes that you want doing that job.
Certainly not, at least at the training, that they're given at that salary as well.
So I know we talked about, so again, we had the active shooter that I talked about already. We had the protests going on there. And let's talk about the Democrats who are hell-bent on causing a second civil war, guys. Because, listen, the time to get angry, there's been a lot of times to get angry at this point. But go time, whatever that is to you, whether that's you go grab a sign, whatever, you move south, and whatever it is, you start protesting, we start marching on DC, whatever it is that go time is when they go after the filibuster. Because if they get rid of the filibuster, they can do whatever they want. That means literally Puerto Rico will be a state, DC will be a state, the Supreme Court will get packed, the Second Amendment will be destroyed, all your freedoms will be gone because they can do whatever they want. Whatever they want. Right? They can change all the election rules so they never lose again.
Just in his last little press conference, about gun control, right? No amendment in the Constitution is absolute. So he's
Right.
already set the stage for it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Go Time can be running for an office, but not me. I have too many skeletons in my closet. No way.
No thanks. I'm not going to
No,
be the
thanks.
podium wife.
Yeah. No way. I'm not, I don't mind being kingmakers. I don't mind,
Well, and that's, as you said, the politicians are not who are going to make any impact right now. It's the culture war. And so that's where you've chosen to dive in.
Yeah. So let me explain why the culture war is the one to win. The political part is not the most important one, right? The left has won all their successes on the culture war. BLM, the most brilliant branding of all time, for a movement that does nothing but make its members rich and doesn't do anything else for anyone else. And they blackmail all these corporations to give them millions or hundreds of millions of dollars just so they can say they support BLM, and their buildings still get destroyed.
Yeah.
Everything still happens. It's the most useless organization on the planet. But they were made there to get, to destroy the nuclear family and to push LGBTQ, which they've done. And they have changed this country in a summer by winning the culture war. How many kids are kneeling for the national anthem, and how many people are anti-America? Well, if you hate America, then you can change anything about it.
Yeah,
and you can erase their history, and you can
good.
and believe that you're doing good. So, by winning the culture war, one hit song, one movie, one trend, one series of hit songs can make it cool to be patriotic again. Can make it cool to love America again. Can make it, can again, get us back on track instantly.
Yeah, not only cool to love that, but also open eyes out.
Yeah,
educate.
You can effectively red pill a generation with a hit song.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I certainly know. I mean, if you get one of those songs kicking around in your head for whenever time you wake up in the middle of the night, it's one of those ones that gets stuck in your head, then you're thinking about those lyrics a lot more than you might be thinking about any other news story.
So think about if you saw Saving Private Ryan, right? You were alive then?
I think I watched it with you recently.
All right. Yeah. So Saving Private Ryan, I thought I knew what those guys went through, but I didn't know what those guys went through until I saw Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah,
that beach, that opening scene, everything that went on there changed everything. The scale of death, the bulldozers and bodies.
Well, that's going to Normandy was. I went with my family back in 2015, maybe 2015, and we did the whole like Paris and whatever thing, but the Normandy was my favorite part. Just being there, it's just an overwhelming experience, and just being there and kind of picturing what was going on under your feet was crazy.
So the culture after Saving Private Ryan is World War II vets got a ton of respect after that, right? They had kind of been forgotten for a while. They were older. They were your grandparents or your great-grandparents or whatever.
Grandpa.
And after that, so just think that's what Saving Private Ryan did for that generation and did for that. We just need a movie or a movement that can maintain momentum and we can flip this whole thing. That's why Topher, the Marine rapper, Bryson Gray, Tyson James, McDonald, I can't remember his name. Tom McDonald. That's why they're so important because they are winning. They are red pilling the generation that's growing up right now, and they're waking them up. And it's it used to be the rebels were considered the Democrats, and the Republicans were the big corporate America, and sticking it to the man was being. It's the exact opposite now.
Yeah,
and that's where I think this movement is going to grow. But let me tell you something, guys. If they get rid of the filibuster, if you don't move red, you're screwed. You're screwed. You're 100% screwed. There's nothing you can do. You're other than get rid of your guns, do everything whatever. And we got a troll. I'm reading your face.
Just an interesting comment. by Silly Goose Network. Glad you're here, Silly Goose, with your friends. Enjoy your drink.
Yeah, drinking urine, I wouldn't recommend that, but, you know, it can be done. I think of the survival flick of the guy who got his arm caught in a cliff and had to drink his own urine for whatever till he worked up the courage to cut his own arm off.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Oof.
Oh, well, we the people.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I remember I came out of there and we went out and I was with a friend and I went to a restaurant. I just went to the restroom and just sat down for like 15 minutes in there and just processed.
Did you?
How out of control that opening scene was. And, you know, and just sat there and was like, wow, just stood in awe of that, the guys who did that. And they weren't SEALs.
Well, and
they weren't these like really trained guys. These guys straight out of basic.
Yeah, like pulled out of the farming fields and stuff. I mean, you see pictures now of like these the boats just packed, you know, with these soldiers going, like literally leaving the big boats and heading onto shore, and talking about kind of our generation now of people that age, and it's like they're kids. They're so young.
16, 17, 18, 19.
And it's like, and it's just to give you, you know, these posts are always about, you know, give you perspective about the entitled kids of
today,
that age now. And, yeah, I mean, just looking at those faces.
Those kids saved the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just.
And it's like you have to wonder if we called on that generation to do the same thing for us now.
Well, there's no way we would crumble. I mean, we're crumbling right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all so afraid to give up our comfort that we're not surrounding DC right now.
Benjamin Zink is here. Have we given him a...
Yeah, Benjamin Zink, welcome.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And Danae, that's just so funny. I mean, I've heard of so many boating accidents recently. Just haven't you? You've heard, you know, I mean, it's an epidemic.
So let's see. We got somebody else here. Goose, I bet you've never done anything requiring fortitude in your life. Well, Harold, Mick.
You've been on before, Harold.
Boing, boing, welcome.
I recognize the Mick Boing
Strength and
Boing.
honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
So
you guys can sort yourself out as far as what dynamic is going on in the chat right now.
Just driving on.
We did have some comments from before. So Bixby is on. We haven't given him a...
Bixby, hey, brother.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
And he commented, filibuster isn't in the Constitution, though. And then Scott Torchick said, I know here a lot of the details are directly paid by the requesting party and not out of PD budget, so those hours still don't count towards a cap in hours worked.
Yeah, it's a shame. You know, I mean, you want to talk about, I mean, there are Boston cops who've made $400K.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, I remember that on the news.
I mean, the Boston Herald does
that they can double, triple dip without even it being on record.
How many of those guys are actually doing real work at that point? You know,
I mean, they have to be awake for it.
Yeah, and you know, you don't want that cop responding to your call who's on his like 120th hour of work. Right?
I know how grumpy I get, how grumpy you get after just one night of Baby B having a bad night.
No, it's not. It's not, right? But here's what happens, right? We all know the cycle. Hard times make strong men that create good times that create weak men, you know, or weak people.
So
whatever
we're about to have some hard times making good men.
Yeah.
And ladies.
Yeah, because, you know, I mean,
well, I think
people are not willing to give up anything.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that I'm so disappointed in myself that I still have an Apple phone when they told me I couldn't have a Parler app on it. Not that I liked Parler. I tried it. It was okay. But the fact that they are trying to be my parent and telling me what I can and cannot have on my phone.
I can't remember. Is there an alternative that doesn't? Because I know that Android was doing the same thing.
Android did the same thing. So it's something you got to do. There's a couple companies out there that do an Android platform that's modified. So it's heavily reinforced. It's, you know, and they're like Google G phone Pixel phones, but they strip all the Google out of it.
Okay.
and you can do that.
So you're not supporting
guess what you're
Google.
not going to get? You're not going to get your Google Map. You're not going to get.
Can you download those apps?
I'm not sure, but that would undo the whole thing because now they're going to be tracking you through the app they have on your phone.
Right. Right.
You know,
but
'cause
you'd be
like
more-
right now
you'd be
we're-
more selective in which apps of theirs you're using versus them being more selective on which apps you're using.
Right. So it just comes down to, I can't wait. Like right now we're in this gap. We're in the gap where conservatives who didn't think that Parler and Instagram and Facebook and YouTube could do what they're doing. And there's this vacuum of conservatives that want that the second the, conservative phone comes out, I'm on it. I'm never going to go back to Apple. I'll never buy another
I'm sure it's
thing
coming.
ever.
I'm
It
sure
is,
it's coming.
but we're in that gap right now, right?
Yeah.
We're in that gap where,
Yeah.
we're waiting for, Costco just canceled my pillow.
Did Costco?
Yeah, Costco did. So I'm
No, man.
canceling
What's
my
happening
membership
to our
there.
account? Well, good thing that they don't have Costco in Johnson City. I wonder if Sam's has done anything stupid like that.
Is it worth doing the MA rate 20 plus years now? I mean, I don't know what to tell you there, Brandy. Everybody I know in the military right now is totally their morale is just totally destroyed.
Mm-hmm.
They're working for an organ, for generals who are liberal crazies, and nobody trusts anybody over them. So everyone's looking over their shoulder. It's terrible. I mean, we're more worried about getting LGBTQ guys on the front lines or gals or whatever on the front line instead of just producing the most effective fighting force in the history of mankind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and to go back to Bill Bixby or Bixby, I'm sorry, whatever his name is there.
Bixby Consequence.
Bixby Consequence. The filibuster is the way we keep the Senate was designed to be a slow cooker, right? The House was meant to be flared with passions, meaning that the House was meant to be, they could replace everyone. It's such a quick turnover. They do all that stuff. And the Senate was supposed to be the balancing act. And the whole thing with the filibuster was to be a check and balance from doing change too quickly that the country was not ready for.
And so when was it implemented?
I do not know when it was implemented. It's been around since all of us have been alive.
Is there an argument, I think, which is to his point, that if it was not originally in the Constitution?
Originally in the Constitution, everyone was God-fearing men, and we wouldn't even be having this conversation. The Second Amendment was supreme. The freedom of religion was supreme. Freedom of speech was supreme, and we wouldn't even be here now. So if you're going to project all those values from the past forward, then we wouldn't even be talking about this. Like abortion wouldn't be allowed. None of these things allowed because they were all devout Christians, or a vast majority of them were, and they had just kicked off, and they didn't just come out of a massive hunting trip and start the Second Amendment. They had just overthrown a country,
Right.
a king, and they wanted to be able to do that again if George Washington turned into that.
Right.
Right. So that's what it's about. So anybody who tries to isolate these little individual arguments, they're being disingenuous and they're just spitting out talking points.
So he just added it. I understand the intent, but now it's abused by both parties. Maybe it can be improved instead of discarded.
How? Right. I mean, if people are like, for example, Obamacare passed with reconciliation.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That should have been a filibuster. We changed the whole world, the whole economy based off of a simple majority when Scott Brown, a Republican, was elected in Massachusetts of all places in Ted Kennedy's seat to stop it, and they still passed it. And that was the day our government broke because compromise went out the window because anyone can get 51. Getting 60 requires some work and it requires compromise. People want to know why our government's broken. It's because of reckless thoughts like that. It's because of reckless ideas like that so that we can just pass a 1.2 trillion or a 2 point whatever trillion dollar thing on reconciliation and bankrupt our grandchildren's grandchildren.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there's a reason why we have checks and balances because I'm telling you, you guys keep pushing this crap, and there's going to be bodies in the streets like you can't. It's going to tear us apart to the point where no one can even talk to one another. Worse than it is now.
Pretty darn close.
Worse than it is now. That's how the Nazi Party was created. That's how, by making people so desperate and by driving them and giving them no other option and by seizing all the power and making them so bad that and vilified that they had no other reason but they had to fight back in whatever way they did. Not that I'm not sympathetic to them. They were evil incarnate. I'm glad they're gone. I don't have any, but I'm just saying that's how things happen. That's how hate is created. And all you have on the left is a party that is designed to create and break people down into identities, to pit them against one another because their policies are so bankrupt. Why are they doing all these things? Because they can't get their 60. They can't pass their things because their ideas are ridiculous. So anyways, sorry.
Well said.
So.
Thoughts, guys? Please chime in. So Benjamin said, we went down the path of losing our nation when we stopped raising men and started raising boys, especially Christ-centered men. Ken has, on several of your podcasts, talked about that, kind of especially how we have this kind of suspended adolescence for typically in other cultures and historically 13, you have your coming of age and boys go out and prove that they're ready to be men, and then they're treated as men. Obviously, there's still this time period where they're living under a roof and kind of still having the influence of parents, but they are respected as equals from that time forward. And we don't do that now. And we've done, I mean, we had you're an adult at 18, but with Obamacare, and
don't say we,
parents
because we
plan
will be
until
doing that.
26, and live in your mom's basement until you're 30, and go off and just travel the world.
For all my Italian
Italian
and Greek friends out there, you're not supposed to live in your mom's basement until you're 35. I'm just saying.
What? So I mean, we've completely undone it, and then some. So I know Ken, his son had his coming of age at 13, and he's what now, 15?
Yep.
And
Ken's still mentoring him.
Yeah.
And and he's still I've watched him break a foot off on him and be like, dude, what are you doing? And done that. But that's the mentoring process. It doesn't stop, but he's accountable. He understands, and Ken tested him and gave him a rite of passage to make sure he understood that, and then put it and that's what I think we all need to do.
And there was also they foster that at Calvary Chapel up there, kind of just taking ownership for your life at a young age, like you should, and not being babied and all of that, but also really pushing the sanctity of marriage and all of that. So they have a lot of couples that come out of their programs that get married at a very young age, and I remember Ken in one sermon kind of commented about they get a lot of people kind of judging that, and certainly questioning these 19, 20, 21-year-olds who are getting married. And, he talks about the success rate of their marriages. They know what they're doing. They know that it's kind of before God, and they've been prepared to be responsible and mature in that relationship versus these 30-somethings who've been told, go take care of yourself, and, kind of it's all about you. And they just have no idea about how to be in a reciprocal God-fearing relationship.
Yeah. I completely agree with that, and it's led to dysfunction on so many levels.
Yeah, because then how do those people raise kids? I mean, it's a perpetuating cycle.
So here we go. We are running out of options when soapbox ain't working, need to go to ammo box. I also agree with Ken that the confounding, dumbfounding, and confusion of our nation is a judgment. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. The fact that anyone can support a single Democrat idea just proves madness. I mean, show me one good idea they have. One. Just one. I'll wait.
I like the concept of taking care of the environment. Just usually their execution on it is not usually anywhere close to accurate.
I like taking care of the environment as a conservative. I don't consider that a leftist principle. I think that's a general principle.
They've made it that, though.
They just say that we don't know what we're doing, even though we have the cleanest air we've ever had right now. Yeah. So it's just a matter of, do you want, what are we going to do in all these solar panels that They're also,
Yeah, exactly.
all these junk
execution
and all,
is,
and everything,
quite poor.
all their good intentions have no real thought behind them, and they lead to worse consequences.
Yep. Pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. Man, Lauren is reminding me of my post yesterday, Lol.
What was that, Scott? I'm sure it was brilliant. We
So as far as we the people,
we need to something. Strength and honor for something.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Strength and honor for still being with us right now after my rant. To Bixby's consequence, we're still sticking around if you're still here after my rant. Yeah, we save the endangered snails, but, sacrifice the children. So it basically has come down to this, guys. I think we're at a moment of truth that unless everybody who owns a firearm marches on D.C. with the filibuster.
All those firearms are at the bottom of all of these
lakes and canoes and all that stuff.
Which Scott said he's going to buy a boat to go find all of the the missing articles from these accidents.
Yeah. But, all right, hey, Bixby, good to see you. So my point is that unless we are all marching on D.C., like I'm not going to another protest. The only time I'm going to D.C. is when we decide that we've had enough and we're jocking up and we're going to go there to peacefully protest with our firearms to let them know that we're not taking it anymore, that it's done. Like, you're not going to this point. You're not going to do it. And if not, then we need to secede. We need, the conservative states and the right wing and the left wing states need to go our separate ways, and they can become Canada 2.0, and we can stay America. And it'll be great.
It's just,
now,
we've talked about this before.
Unfortunately,
the execution of that is just near impossible.
Well, they're just saying that no country's ever succeeded peacefully, meaning that there would be war and that all these things would happen.
It's just the mixing and matching anymore. Because even if it's a blue state, the majority of the area of those states are still red.
Yeah,
even if the cities pull them blue. So like all of these people watching who are in their New Jersey and their New Yorks and all of that.
I got something to tell you guys, and you don't want to hear it.
Move.
You need to leave and you need to move. You're wasting your vote where you're at right now. New York will never flip red. Massachusetts will never flip red. Connecticut will never flip red. California will never flip red. I'm telling you right now, you need to move and go somewhere where your vote actually matters.
Come be our neighbors.
Come be our neighbors.
We've said it before. We'll say it again. Come be our neighbors.
But I'm terrified where we're going. And, every day I wake up, thinking that today's the day that either Russia tests us to the point of no return and we're in a nuclear war.
Sure, they're watching gleefully.
China, or the feds decide that they're going to go after every veteran, and
I'm curious.
We all shoot to the top of that list.
With what they're doing now, what's the proposed now executive actions and all of that, with gun control that Biden's pushing through, the weapons of war stuff, and then there's today they're coming after silencers. In your mind, have they reached the line on coming too far, or are there still levels? No,
they've already gone too far. That's why we're going to Tennessee.
I'm just saying, as far as kind of coordinating this march show of force.
You don't need silencers for that. You don't need anything. You could stay with.
No, I'm not saying that you do, but just to have they reached far enough across the line that people should do that now versus waiting. I don't care about silence.
We should have done it on the election, right? We should have done it on the election, and we didn't. We should have done it 100 times before then. But I've always said, if you go all the way back to pre-November, the filibuster was the thing I always said was the last moment. If they get rid of the filibuster, it's time to do whatever it is that we're going to do. Mm-hmm. And it's time right now. A leader needs to rise. Like, somebody needs to become the face of this. It's not Trump right now.
Do you think it's DeSantis? He's riding this COVID wave. Do you think that he has the cojones?
He hasn't weighed in on any of these things, right? And, Texas is pushing back, and Tennessee, Texas kind of started their constitutional carry. It's still got to go through the Senate. Tennessee passed it. Other places have, but hell, Vermont, New Hampshire, and Maine have constitutional carry. Those are 3 Democrat states, so it's not like that's anything, right? They're still coming for your guns, people.
Yeah.
They're just pretending to like you. Like that's the whole thing of Northern Maine. That's a lie.
Like you, no, I don't think they're pretending that anymore. Tolerate, maybe.
But they don't barely tolerate. They consider you one of them. Like Ken said, in his 2016 men's conference, the Democrats, don't invite people like me or you to their, events or to be a part of their crew. Right? So, again, dark days ahead, cling to your Bible, cling to your guns. I'm going to say it right now. And get around like-minded individuals. And if you're if you're not in a red state, you need to be getting there. The housing market is great everywhere. What's keeping you where you're at? Start over.
Yeah. I know that there are some people who feel strongly that they need to fight the fight where it's not popular. And there was people who certainly tried to articulate that to us about leaving here. And you can appreciate that, but I think as far as looking at where your true impact is, I think that you are right, that your greater impact is going to be shoring up a place that hasn't flipped yet. Because unless you can convince a lot of people to move to where you are in those blue areas, you're just going to be outnumbered and wasted.
Yeah, we the people, I see your argument. They didn't allow this, they're not going to allow the secession, but things are different now. Then it's the whole world can see what's going on. The internet is everywhere, and if secession alone, would they let Louisiana do it? No, but if the the southern or conservative states banded together, they have power and they could secede if they wanted to. I just don't think there's nukes everywhere, guys. There's nobody is going to want that to go sideways. So it's going to be okay. We're going to create something new. This isn't working anymore. We're going to divorce. The military will be our children. And
it's a separation agreement,
yeah,
but not a full divorce.
But, I think that's the only thing that waits, because there is no compromise in any of these issues. There's none. You're either for murdering babies or you're not.
There's compromise in some of the issues, but not the core ones. And the core ones are the ones where people are really putting their foot down.
So again, I just don't see how we can coexist together. And I think that in this modern day where weaponry is so terrible and one bomb can destroy an entire state, depending on the size of the state, that, secession is a reality. And I think that it could happen. And I think that we're just talking about, old tactics versus new tactics, this and that. And I got to believe there's think tanks doing this right now. The problem is, for me, is not the blue states that'd be the problem. The problem is the blue states are already controlled by China, right? Yeah. The Democrat Party is already controlled by China. They're already owned by China and big tech, which is owned by China. So because of that, China could wipe out their number one enemy by detonating a bomb in blue states, right? Without even having to launch missiles. Right? Because that's just the payload right there. They wouldn't even have to do anything. So, again, national security becomes an issue and those things. But who trusts anybody anymore? I don't trust the military anymore. I don't trust most law enforcement anymore. I don't trust federal law enforcement at all.
No. I know you put out
the FBI comes to my door. I'm not saying a damn word. No. I don't trust them at all. They're owned. That doesn't mean there aren't good people in it. There are good guys who are stuck in there. Institutionally, their leadership is bankrupt.
Yeah.
So Bill said he's holding the line in PA, but strongly considering Eastern Tennessee by you guys. You should, brother. Don't wait for PA.
We the people, I know that you were talking about coordinating a trip to come scout. So if you want to wait until after the 27th, we'll be there. We can connect.
New Jersey Lou, God bless, guys. Hey, New Jersey Lou, good to see you. It's been forever.
While.
Where you been, man? He's gone unless he's popped over on, he was on Facebook, unless he popped over on Red. New Jersey Lou, you still here? No more compromise, not one more inch. Exactly, we the people. Blue cities and red states are controlled by China. China buying a lot of land in the states, absolutely. And there is Lou. He's still here. There he is. I see his one little. He's the only one on Facebook still. Blue city. Exactly. China is calling the shots now. China took over America in this last election with firing one shot, and that shot was in the one that killed Ashley Babbitt. You know, and
which no charges are
going
to be pressed. I'm sure you guys have seen.
No charges pressed. We don't know the cop's name. That is an abomination. The press should be ripping into that. Why do we know his name? Why isn't that case presented in front of us?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that is very, I mean, I think people are okay with this little bit of secrecy because it was capital. I mean, like, I don't even know, actually. I guess, I mean, I don't know if they're thinking it's government stuff, so it's kind of, we just always assume that there's some secrecy going on there.
It's possible.
But I don't know. I mean, we know the names of the officers that were killed or injured. But that's different.
You know, and now with this whole trial going, the Chauvin trial, if he does not get, convicted of the worst crime, like a murder in the first degree, premeditated, guaranteed electric chair, they're going to burn everything down and go shopping again. Just like they did the other day.
The most, flippant article on Fox. I think it was Greg Jarrett or whoever is that. Who's that?
Yeah.
Just they're very smug and against him, and kind of talking about how clear it was that he was very guilty.
I don't think people understand and know what the hell they're talking about. Again, was it good? No, it wasn't good. But was it murder? No. And I think that, the second coroner gets up there and says he had 4 times the amount of fentanyl in the system to kill him, and that's what caused his heart attack or whatever, then you can't.
Yeah, I guess so. In the article, he was saying they have to be able to articulate, I guess, kind of the primary cause of death. Basically, would he have died in that moment without what Chauvin was doing? And in this article, anyways, he was saying that they were not able to articulate the medical examiners.
That's a reasonable doubt.
Able to articulate.
It's a reasonable doubt.
As he said, and I'll have to go back, that was not the standard that they were having to prove.
Reasonable doubt is no longer the standard there.
It was that they had. Let me find it, so I don't want to speak.
It's all right. No, don't worry about it. Presidency was stolen. Dominion machines, altered results. Good night. Wanted to say hi. We'll be watching. Agree with you on the Floyd case. If he's acquitted, big trouble. Yeah, big trouble everywhere. And it's not just going to be there. It's going to be everywhere. Mm-hmm. It's just an excuse to burn stuff down and go shopping and hurt people. And no matter how many times Nike says we stand with you and we're for BLM, your stores are still going to get looted. You're still going to lose everything because you can't bribe the mob.
Yeah, I'm sure they are ready to board up their windows.
He's not guilty of manslaughter. He's getting off. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, if they can't prove that he contributed to his cause of death, then I don't see how you convict. But again, that jury's terrified. I guarantee you they're terrified. They should have moved that out of that place, and they didn't. And because of that, I think it's going to be considered a mistrial, or, they're going to get a guaranteed appeal on this. And, we're going to be dealing with this. And again, who knows, he might get killed in prison or whatever, or kill himself before this is all over, because it's just the way it is. Just like the guy who took a plea, the lead singer, I think, or lead guitarist from Iced Earth, is the guy who,
the first of the insurrectionists
to accept a plea deal, which is ridiculous. The protesters, If they were BLM, they'd be protesters. So, or let's call them protesters who were in the Capitol, just made a plea deal with the feds, pled guilty, and is now snitching on everyone.
Yeah.
So if you got an Iced Earth album, go burn it.
Okay, so Bixby helped clarify. He said, it's still reasonable doubt, but if there are multiple causes of death, the defendant can still be convicted for their contribution.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that if it is, but the difference is, you know, how many witnesses can we get in there and experts to contradict one another? And if experts contradict one another, that's reasonable.
Well, I think
doubt.
you commented too. I mean, the defense really didn't talk that long.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it seemed like they kind of were throwing in the towel. So I don't know how good of how much they tried to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch every minute of the trial. I don't know.
And certainly we were only hearing on the news, we were only being shown clips of damning evidence and statements against him.
Same here with We the People. I refuse to watch an adult sport ever again. I'm done watching. I don't have time for that. Life is too serious for me to waste time watching a kid's game and a bunch of spoiled athletes playing something, you know, just I'm all set. It's disgusting, and I'm ashamed that I actually partook in it for so long. I agree that we have to plan and prepare, but I honestly don't see an answer outside of Christ's return and dealing out 100% truth via his judgments. Well, we don't know if that's coming today or in 1,000 years or 10,000 years or whatever, brother. So, you know, all we can do is use our God-given abilities and make sound decisions. But to me, I mean, I'm putting my money where my mouth is. We just sold our house. We're moving to Tennessee. I can't say it more clear than that. I mean, I'm not telling you to do something I'm not unwilling to do. I'm doing it because I believe it's 1,000% the right thing to do.
Doesn't hurt that we're excited to go, but
no, but
that's not done.
But how hard was it to sell this place and, you know, and everything else that we went with?
It was a big decision, big change.
You know, and there's sacrifices and
100%,
and everything else.
I was being lighthearted. I was not minimizing the effort.
It's all orchestrated. I believe nothing. Can you unpack that a little bit more? I mean, obviously everything's orchestrated. The media is controlled. There's very little truth even on Fox. I mean, Tucker Carlson, I think, and Sean Hannity are the only two on there that say Tucker, the unfiltered truth. I don't know. I don't watch Sean. I agree. I think he's probably a great guy. I just have never learned anything, like I said, watching him.
He's less likely to point out errors on his side. So you generally feel like you're getting fed a little bit of the party line when you're watching him.
Yeah, so McBoing Boing said he watches boxing. I don't consider MMA a sport. That's a combat thing. So, again, it's not that I don't go and watch a ton of fights. I haven't paid to watch a fight and whatever, but I'll watch like YouTube videos and things like that because I think there's something to be learned for our own self-defense in that, you know, whereas baseball, I'm not going to learn a darn thing, or soccer or whatever. Well, I'm excited to report on how it is there. I mean, there's going to be things that suck, and there are going to be things that are great. Mm-hmm. And we're going to have ups and downs, and we're going to give it to you all. And we're going to let you know, and you guys got a place to land when you come to our town, and we'll hang out, and we'll show you the ropes and show you where to go, and hopefully we'll all be neighbors, and, you know, we'll all have mutual aid agreements when things go down, if things go down, and we'll all be standing shoulder to shoulder with each other. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Strength and honor. Strength and honor.
Lou Dobbs is amazing. He was Trump before Trump.
Is he back on? Because he was canceled, right, after his support?
I think so. I don't know where he is. I don't know if
it
he's
was
still
a temporary
around.
suspension or if he was permanently.
Yeah, he was on Fox Business for a while, and I don't know. They canceled his show because he was pro-Trump.
About the election stuff.
Yeah. He said, I like Lou Dobbs, so I guess that means past tense. I don't know why he wouldn't land at Newsmax or OAN unless he's too much of an old timer.
He was bigger fish than those organizations are right now. But
Yeah, willing for them to. Yeah, I don't know, but it's all sad. So I want to end on a high note. And again, we've been talking about what we think the answer is to this. But if you can't move, if you're stuck where you're at, find like-minded people and band together. You're not alone. There are people who can't because of family or job conditions, who can't leave. And you need to start networking with those people and rely on one another because, and just be really smart, guys, because they're going to start monitoring everything you do. And you're just going to have to be smart.
Yeah.
Or move south where a Republican governor and a Republican attorney general will defend you.
Just keep your eyes on God, I think.
Yep.
We're trying to end this uplifting.
Well, hey.
Keep the faith.
That means a lot, we the people. I appreciate that. You're saying we're in the top 5. I appreciate that. So John said, precisely, the major media allows the public only certain morsels of info, none of it truthful. Yeah, I would not put Tucker in that. I think Tucker calls it straight. I think Tucker has called the election fraud. He didn't go down that wormhole, but he says the election was stolen. He says that Google, he's pointed out that Google can affect, and all those other
not
things.
Because of fraud, but because of influence at a minimum.
Yeah. But he says, I think he is the most legit. I'd love to if Tucker ran for president, he'd get my vote over everyone.
I don't see it happening.
I hope they do. Yeah, I hope they do. All right, everyone. We get an early morning tomorrow, so I tried to warn us.
The Hope Report recording. So say prayers that it goes well. His new relationship with his co-host. And I'll relinquish my chair for your new co-host.
Well,
it's remote. So
the chair is in Minnesota, so
my title.
So wish me luck. Pray for me for the Hope Report on Monday. There's already a YouTube channel out. Let me post that link or find that link. If you guys could get over there and like it doesn't matter. You don't have to do it tonight. But the Hope Report is already up on Facebook, Instagram, and all that. You should see it. It'll be the Hope Report, and it'll be 2 hands, like Jesus pulling you out of the water hands. And that's the logo, and that's how you know you're in the right place. So we're super pumped, super excited, and we're just going to keep trucking on.
Yeah.
Keep fighting the fight. Never quit. So, Lauren, go ahead and pray us out.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you so much for allowing us to have this time tonight, this fellowship that we all need so desperately. And although we are not in the same room or the same town or mostly the same state, we are grateful for the community that we've grown and that we are able to lean on each other in this difficult time. And we know that if we stick together and keep our eyes on you, that we will get through in whatever shape or form that takes. We will be okay. And Lord, please be with the victims of the shooting at the FedEx facility. And I hope that you were able to welcome home the people who lost their lives and be with the family members who are reeling right now and who didn't have their loved one come home from work this morning or last night, and help them find some answers through this and use it for good. I know that it was not of you, Lord, that this happened, but that you'll be able to take this and impact lives in a positive way moving forward. So help them see that. And it might not be now or tomorrow, but help them get there. And Lord, just help us stay safe and healthy and happy through this weekend. And we love you and thank you always for your blessings. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. All right. God bless you guys. Love you. And see you on Monday.
Good night.